You know, they used to tell me when I was a kid, you know, you should go to school and get a degree and have something to fall back on in case you don't want to play music or you can't make it and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, all those people are crying now because I get to play with toys all day. Like the one I'm about to show you right now. It didn't come out of the tickle trunk, trust me.
Guitar Stuff with John.
Welcome to another episode of Guitar Stuff with John. All right, I've got something pretty exciting to show you right now. I have to start this review by discussing a builder that many of you might not know. I had never heard of this man, to be honest with you, until a couple of years ago. My good friend Roger Schmidt mentioned his name to me and gave me a synopsis of what he had contributed to the world of guitar building over the past, 60 years. That man's name is Hozen. Hozen is a Hungarian native who fled Hungary during the Second World War with his parents, ended up eventually in the United States at the age of 15. And from there, he decided he wanted to build guitars. So he bought books. He went to lectures. He bought tools at flea markets. He did all these crazy things. He had no money. He had no nothing. And he just decided on building guitars. He sold his first one for $200. It was, of course, a gut string guitar. And early on in his career, he's built about 500 instruments. Early on in his career, he only built gut string guitars. But something called him to building steel string instruments. And he went on to become one of the most revered guitar builders in the history of building guitars. His name is right up there with Christian Martin, Orville Gibson, Leo Fender, these people that manipulated and altered the way guitars were built, the technology, the thought process that goes into building them. He was one of the guys. His guitars have been played by everybody from John Denver, Leo Kottke, Michael Hedges played an Hozen guitar, Mark O'Connor played one on many of his early records. His guitars are a part of acoustic guitar legend that, sadly, not a lot of us are aware of. So I wanted to talk about him first because he's such a genius. And starting out at a $200 gut string guitar he built, which he loved, and still, they say it's still in use today. He went on to become a man who builds one guitar a month every year and sells them each for $30,000 US. That's what his guitars cost. And believe me, they're worth every penny. And the reason I know that is because I've heard them on records, but also a good friend of mine over in Singapore, whose name is Hozen was trained by Hozen. One of the things that Samoji came up with that can be taught is, and he does this with a lot of things, mathematics, science, technology that he uses to prove his theories, is the top tuning and shaping, tone shaping of wood that goes into, specifically a piece of wood that he shapes and tones and tunes for the type of guitar he's building. Well, my friend Hozen learned this from Hozen and has gone on to become now, I think, one of the best guitar builders in the world of this type of guitar. And you're gonna see one right now, and it's gonna boggle your mind. It boggles mine. I wish I could actually keep this guitar, but I think it'd be better off in the hands of somebody who is a serious fingerstyle player. I mean, I am a very serious fingerstyle player, but this guitar is right at the $10,000 mark, which is a bit out of my league. But it's worth every dime. And this is the Hozen. We're going to take a close look at this instrument, but it is absolutely a work of art. A work of art. It's made out of Swiss moon spruce top, Madagascar rosewood back and sides, sound port. It's a masterpiece. It's an absolute masterpiece, and this is why. It almost makes you cry. It's that good. It's just a beast that seems like it can't be tamed. But then when you start to play it, it molds, it melts into your soul, you know? The same way that Bouchers do, and the same way that Gallagher's do, and Flameng, and George Crackett. You're in the presence of somebody who is capable of building an instrument with a living soul in it. And there's many of those builders, right? And I'm severely blessed to be able to come into contact with guitars like this. This is something that the channel does for me. Hozen Young is a fine man. I've spoken with him several times through text about what he does, and he's a very active man, and he builds a lot of guitars for Roger Schmidt at Brickhouse, which is where this guitar is from. If you want to see these instruments for your own eyes, with your own eyes, that's where you go to see them. You can also order and buy them from Roger. But I want to take a close look at the guitar because there's so much to unpack with this thing. So let's take a close look at Hozen's number 91 Blue Label Dreadnought with cutaway and all kinds of other toys. So here we are at the headstock of the Hozen Blue Label. So one of the designs he came up with was this H for Hozen that goes on an angle through the headstock. It also appears in stitching on the flight case, which in itself is it's just a work of art, the case. So we have a mahogany faceplate, as you can see. Bone. The fingerboard is framed by this maple purfling that goes down, you can see it here, all the way around the entire fretboard. It crosses at the bottom, comes back up the other side. That's really cool. And then you've got these wicked fret markers that actually travel around the side of the guitar. That is, my friends, a piece of petrified wood that he dyes blue. This is another Irvin Samogi trick that he's used on this guitar. So you've got these tab-style fret markers out of dyed petrified wood. Look at that. Gorgeous. Double there. Look at that one. Ooh. it's just a work of art. It's a work of art. We get down to the top, the Swiss moon spruce. Moon spruce, of course, is spruce that's cut down at a certain time of the month when they say all of the sap is in the ground and not in the tree. So it causes the wood to be easier to age, etc., etc. We see a purfling here that is, I believe it's more rosewood in there for that. Looks like it, or it could be koa, but bound in maple. You can see there. See the grain of that. And we go to our rosette, same thing. Petrified wood. That's spalted maple there. More petrified wood there. All the way around. Look at the mosaic pattern he's got in there. Gorgeous. Fingerboard tail cut to the shape of the sound hole. He has these beautiful ebony bridges with the thumb slot in the sides, which does a lot to the sound, I think. It's hard to say, but it's a lot of material cut from the bridge. I think makes the top a lot lighter. Bone saddle. Ivoroid, those are not plastic. Hozen doesn't use plastic. So those are either like a, I don't know what they would be. They could be bone. But yeah, incredible workmanship. And we go to the sides and we see this beautiful, let's look at our sticker. There's our sticker. Madagascar rosewood. Hide glue. Hide glue. Like, who uses hide glue anymore? Number 91. Swiss moon spruce. And it's actually Adirondack bracing in this too. Incredible. Unbelievable. That's a lot of attention to detail. So here we are at our rosewood sides. The sound port, which actually works, throws a ton of sound at your face. You have the maple rib cage comfort bevel there, and another armrest here out of maple. All right. Then the back. Look at the back. Here's another, like a giant keystone of this blue petrified wood that he just stuck in there for fun. I think that's ebony he's using in there. Cutaway, Florentine, beautiful, beautifully done. Maple heel cap. We get down to the bottom and we see more of the petrified wood on the end strip. And then we have this gorgeous mahogany neck with the ebony inlay strip, strengthens the neck. Another plate on the back, so it's mahogany squished between rosewood or ebony, I think. Ebony, it looks like. Beautiful Goto 510s with the ebony buttons. Gold hardware. Like, this guitar is just ridiculous. There's no other way to say it. Like, it's such a work of art. And it's funny, you know, sometimes guys build guitars that are this fancy, and they sound like crap, because they didn't take enough time to worry about the sound, and they were more worried about the aesthetic of the guitar. Obviously, Hozen has not fallen into that trap. He's made a beautiful masterpiece work of art. And it sounds unbelievable. There you go, boys. Hozen Young. You can't beat him. Thanks, Hozen. We love you, buddy. So there you go. There it is. And I mean, it is mind-boggling. It really is. It's such a great guitar. If you've got $10,000 to put into an instrument, and we're not talking US, we're talking Canadian. So this guitar in the States is only about $7 grand. And the amount of work and the workmanship and the sound of this thing puts it miles above, you know, a lot of other builders down there at the price point, right? You'd be hard pressed to get Bourgeois or anybody, Collings, any of those guys to build this guitar like this for that price. They'd be wanting $15,000, $18,000, $20,000. But we're at a unique situation in the world with guitars when you have builders like Hozen popping up, sort of out of nowhere. He's been around for years, but he's now delving heavily into the North American market. We're able to buy his masterpieces, right? This is a masterpiece guitar. There's not another one like it. He built this because he felt like building this guitar. There's no design plan. There's no nothing. This is what was in his head. And we're able to buy this guitar for 10 grand because I'm telling you right now, if he's still building 20 years from now, this guitar will cost 40, right? It just will. It's the way it goes. When these guys continue to reach for the next summit, the next summit, the next summit, the next summit in what they're doing, their price goes through the roof exponentially, the same as Irvin Samogi's did. $200 for the first guitar, $30,000 US for any guitar now, right? See the math? Because Irvin Samogi builds unbelievable guitars. Hozen Young builds unbelievable guitars, the same way that Samogi did, right? This guitar is highly reminiscent of Samogi's instruments. All of the design language is the same, basically, with even Samogi's knowledge of how to get this top and back to speak the way it needs to for this design. So here's off to you. Hats off to you there, Hozen, buddy. You're a killer. You're a killer guitar builder. Just unbelievable. Thanks a lot for watching. Boy, I don't even know what to say. It is what it is. If you're looking for a really expensive, wicked guitar, this is your deal. I love you guys. See you next time on Guitar Stuff with John.